The year is 2012. You're 16 years old and you're on Craigslist. You go to Cars and Trucks, okay? You click the coupe button and you're hit with because you don't live in a popular city, you know what I mean? So you go to the US cities, you click on Los Angeles, you go back to the cars page and voila! You see them. 2016 prices on cars, $5,500 Honda S2000s, $22,000 Supras, $30,000 NSXs, and the most expensive thing out there is a $50,000 Ferrari TR. Along with the most expensive thing probably also being out there is like a clean Ford Mustang Terminator. And life is good. You fast forward like 8 years and now you go on Facebook getting blasted by old people yelling about politics in a marketplace that makes it way too easy to reach sellers that has nothing but garbage on it, and nothing's for sale and everything is overpriced. Except for the stuff that looks like it was ran through like a washer and dryer a couple too many times. No one buys the rough stuff anymore because money doesn't matter and everybody thinks it needs to be perfect. So you decide to look at the perfect meticulate.
Huh?
What is that?
I don't even know.
Is that a 2001 Honda S2000? Yeah, baby, that's right, and it's mine. It's my ugly duckling Honda, and it's not for sale, okay? I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and today we're talking about why I think crappy cars deserve second chances. Join the Discord, subscribe, and buy a hoodie if you haven't. Gracias. Yes, I know this is a coffee cup. Bear with me. Chapter 1, my clapped Honda S2000. In April 2016, I did a montage video on a friend's Honda S2000 owned by a guy named Dale. Now, Dale had been in the car scene for literally ages, and he even had the first Civic I ever saw with a hood cut out so that the K24 could fit. And ultimately, like, this car, the S2000, would get the F-Series taken out, taboo I know, and then replaced with the K24 from that Honda. And I think even some different tunes were played along with it, along with some big old subwoofers and an amplifier in the rear trunk, and one of those old tablets that were a tablet before tablets were good. You know what I mean? Like the haptic feedback was just really dog water, that sort of thing. The build was from 2015. Anyway, over time, this car kind of started to have a little bit of a tougher life, and Dale did the best that he could. It was a wickedly cool car, but as Dale kind of bought more different cars, and because Dale loved cars and we love Dale, his ownership of the S2000 kind of started to get put to the side. The build started to slow down and ultimately just kind of hit a dead stop. I actually remember filming this in 2016 and telling him that one day I would own it, and I did. This is it. This is that car. Between 2016 and now, the car had most of its wrap removed, and that was pretty much it. It had some 85 activity and some little things here or there, but for the most part, what you saw in the 2016 montage is what you're seeing in 2021, okay, when I actually bought it. Except it didn't run. It was a little bit of a shit show. It barely drove, the power steering didn't work, and the AC didn't work, and there's a whole bunch of shit because the years weren't the best for the car. And because it was modified, the time you spend not working on it is multiplied by dog years for how fast they can go to shit if your car isn't continuously worked on. But it was $11,000. Old Alex would have tried to find some perfect version, but summer Alex that was like 2 Cayman Jacks deep was like, it's a pretty good deal. I take that deal. You take that deal? That's a good deal. All right, so it took another year or so to actually get it going again, with help from engine builders, fantastic tuners, good friends, and a patient previous owner. Because if you do buy a modified car, it's really great to have a relationship with the previous owner so you can figure out what the were they doing, okay? And to be 110% honest, in terms of what car was the most fun in 2022 when it was done breaking, it was the Honda S2000. Were people pissed that it had a K24A in it even after I swapped the engine? Yes. Did I give an absolute single
No.
Okay, because when you got the car near the finish line with the K24A, it had 480 wheel horsepower on a modest tune. I do not care what acronym was powering the rear wheels. It was fun, okay? But it was a pain, okay? Everything needed to be redone on this car. New K-Pro, HKS blow-off valve, new clutch kit, new flywheel, new thermostat neck, new water pumps, new seals, new hose assemblies. Pretty much anything that had to be touched and rewired was touched and rewired. But even though I wanted to cry sometimes, there still was something that itched me to get back into the car every single time. And it didn't have to do with like the power. It just had to do with how I felt when I drove it. It's not a good looking car right now. I'd argue actually that it's the ugliest car I've ever owned outside of the spaghetti over there with the whole junkyard tan. But for some reason, I just didn't care. It was like missing vents. The AC still doesn't work, okay? The windows leak as much air up as they do when they're down. And just everything about this car just kind of reminds me of worn leather. Why would anybody actually want this car? It's not a comfortable car. It's not a cruiser car. It's not an easy car to drive, but man, the top down, the short gearing, the feeling of the insanely grippy clutch, and the screaming Michelin tires doing the best they can to keep the traction down while the top half is getting shaved off like a bald man at a blind barbershop is because I haven't fixed the fitment yet, but it was always awesome when we got it up to temp. And I realized that this car, when I got it, and still now, is kind of a turd. It's a clapped car, a car that I don't think could really be posted on social media with getting much love back. It's not a big, braggable car. The best thing about it is the engine swap. And I even listened to people walk by it when I was at Elite Tuner, and they thought that it was actually disgusting. And I'm not gonna say they were wrong. To be honest, if it wasn't me and I posted this plasti dipped, fogged, headlight looking car in a group page and I had the hood down, I probably wouldn't be loved. Like, call me the fallen falcon, it would just not go well in terms of me trying to get positive reception from the internet. Positive love, okay? The likes. But I think that's what makes this car and cars like it so much fun. And I think I might actually run with a lot of that this season. And why I think you should too, because ugly cars deserve second chances. It seems to me like there's this infatuation with perfection on car builds these days. And I even chase that all the time with my stuff. If I don't build a cool car or talk about cool things on the car, it just doesn't get the love. Sure, people love ugly cars, but it's almost like when they're taken to the extreme. Like, I'm sure people enjoy some of like the budget builds that are being done on the internet, but it's almost like so budget that it's extreme the other way. Like, oh, don't get that one, it's got a bunk fender, don't buy that. Oh, it's got high miles, don't buy that. Oh, that one's plasti dip, don't buy that. And on the other side, it's like, this thing's got 500,000 miles. We're gonna restore it with a toothbrush, okay? And it's like, the realism needs to come back maybe a little bit. So we're gonna normalize actual normal car builds and build times this year with the S2000. If you want a car that's gonna give you some personality, honestly, get into something that will teach you or humble you. Like, do that. That happened to me with so many cars, and it still happens to me because I have no idea what I'm doing. And not everything is going to be perfect. And maybe it's just me, but that's why I love builds that just feel a little bit more normal or came from a car that looked just normal because it was. Now, it doesn't have to always stay that way. I still think getting rid of the plasti dip exterior bits on the Honda S2000 makes sense. It's probably the right thing to do, and the wide body will allow us to fit some wheels and stuff. But to be honest, I think we're just gonna do it the best way we can. Let there be a few mistakes. Maybe show you where we f up, because we inevitably will. And I think that's super important. And I don't think I've done that in the past. Now, SamKoi202 on Instagram asked if I had any major build plans for it, and the answer is still yes. I think we need to get this thing ready for track activity. APR S2 GT wide body, it's got the wheels, it's got the tires, it's got the aero, and it's got some safety equipment so that when I accidentally get overconfident because I'm on my sim rig all the time now, and I think that's the same thing as real life, I'll still be safe when I end up going overboard. Now, the only thing I hope I don't get is scared to drive it because we do the aesthetic stuff to it. Because I still want it to look decent. I still want to drive the crap out of it too. So I still want to take it to Elite Tuner and do minute-long burnouts with no hands. And I still want to race everything under the sun with it. But I still want it to look decent. I want to get it to a point where it's still a realistic car. Because if it gets too much out of that to drive around, I need you guys to kick me in the ass. Hold me to it. Take away my coffee. Don't threaten my cat, I'll kill you. Okay? I guess what I'm trying to say to you, and maybe to me, is that clapped cars deserve second chances, because I don't think I would have taken this risk ever. And I'm so glad that I did. Like, they don't even need to be running consistently, but you need to be patient and build up a story around it, because I'm so glad I was able to do that with this Honda S2000. I found more joy in just figuring it out with incredible people while staring at a car that had a weird smell in it than I've had with any new car or like any form of wild car with crazy power. This thing for me, I don't know what it is, but it's fun. And maybe that's what the K24 swaps are all about. But hey, let me know your build story below, join the Discord, and come hang out as I undoubtedly mess this car up somehow on YouTube, to which I hope you're subscribed. I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores, and today we talked about cars. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you later. Adios.